Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Lorraine Lamb, and today I have a book review on Beartown by Fredrik Backman. And this book, actually, I was going to say it's a standalone, but it's going to be a duology, I believe. I don't know if there's going to be a third book, but the second book is coming out, I believe, in May. And this book was really good. I just read it in a time where I probably should have picked up a light, fluffy contemporary, but I'm like, Fredrik Backman will make me cry, he'll make me appreciate life. And this book, although beautifully written and really well done, did not give me those vibes. But I'm going to talk about it nonetheless because I did enjoy it. In case you haven't watched my book reviews, this will be spoiler free. I will tell you if any spoilers are going to come up. I do have a contingency to the spoiler part, but I'm going to get into that after I introduce the next part. I rate my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of read again very soon. 5 out of 5, not so soon, 1 out of 5. So basically the contingency on this spoiler is, in this book, in the description, it basically says that Beartown gets rocked by a crime. I don't know if it says what kind of crime. I believe it doesn't. Basically, in the catalyst for a violent act that leaves a young girl traumatized in a town in turmoil. So it kind of, I'm going to tell you basically what that act was in my book review. It's not a giant spoiler because the book is about dealing with the aftermath, because it happens not super early on, but you kind of know something's going to happen from the description. So in case you don't want to hear what happened, because I don't find that's a giant spoiler, because some people would be probably able to guess from that description, but in case, I would definitely come back to this book review after. If you're fine with that little piece of knowledge, because it's one of two things, if you're thinking that I was wrong, but it's one of two, and I will tell you what I thought, then we're going to continue on. So basically this book is about the town Beartown, and it's a very, very small town, very cold, but it's a hockey town. Everybody, well not everybody, but most people live and breathe hockey. They're either spectators, players, past players, future players, and people that just are affected so much by this game. And that's kind of what glues the community together. A lot of people in town, there's not a lot of jobs available anymore. A lot of people move to the other town. But Beartown's hockey club is their big pinnacle of the town. And basically, they're doing really, really well this season. And they have a star player, Kevin, and they think he's going to be in the NHL. He's really good. It didn't mean anything to Amit, who is the 15-year-old tree-legged Amicus everywhere but on the ice. And he's a very good player as well. But basically, you get perspectives from everybody, but being responsible for the hopes of the entire town is a heavy burden, and the semi-final match is a catalyst for a violent act that leaves a young girl traumatized in a town in turmoil. Hers is a story no one wants to believe, since the truth would mean the end of the dream. Accusations are made, and like ripples on a pond, they travel through all of Beartown, leaving no resident unaffected. So this book, what I thought it was going to be about was a murder, because that's where my mind just goes, but it's actually about a sexual assault case. And that's why it was like, I wanted not the murder's light, but I was like, oh, it's going to be dealing with death and, you know, like the sadness and all that. That's more what I wanted. But this was just so heartbreaking, but so beautifully written. And I really loved what Fredrik Backman did with his writing. I found it refreshing, and I really did enjoy it. So for plot, I give the plot a 4.5 out of 5. Now, I really loved how there was all different perspectives. I loved hearing from, like, it was like almost every 2 paragraphs there was a different person from the town you got to hear about. And I loved hearing about all that. The main focus was not picking a side. It was displaying the evidence. And it was showing how people act in a community when they want something and something gets in their way. And the way that he dealt with it was really well. And he was explaining it perfectly, I found. I found his representation of the assault, everything that happened was just so real. And I just liked how he portrayed stuff accurately. Like, it's not going to be a happy ending. Like, she's not going to say, this happened to me, and everybody's going to be like, oh, we believe you. There's going to be those doubters and naysayers and people saying that she's only, she was drunk, or she didn't say no, she wore that skirt, like that kind of thing. But Fredrik Backman wraps it around where it's like looking at the assault and how when people believe this one person did it, when people don't, the lessons we can learn from this, and seeing a sexual assault case in a book where you see the true facts, you know what happened in this book, and seeing how it's portrayed after somebody comes out and says something is a very important thing to kind of look at. And I feel like definitely there's people that with sexual assault cases automatically say you're lying. Like, when you automatically see a case, yes, you shouldn't necessarily believe about delving in, because there definitely are people who unfortunately will come out with cases that aren't actually true. But there are those believers, and you should always look at the case and not dismiss somebody's claims. You should always look into it and explore that and make sure, obviously, that the claims are sound. Because obviously, you know, we live in an age where people unfortunately lie about stuff like that. But it shows you that you shouldn't just go in and be like, for example, a sibling saying, oh, my brother would never do that because I've known him my whole life. Like, that's not true. Anybody can do anything. And I think it's important to look at, like Kevin in this book, he was the all-star, he was the all-American, well, he was an American, he was Sweden, but like he was like the all-American boy, and he had everything going for him. And people would say, oh, he wouldn't do that, we've known him our whole lives. And it kind of delves in that topic where it's like, just because you know somebody, and exploring characters. And I just really loved how it was handled, because it is a very serious topic. Characters I give a 5 out of 5. I really love the little snippets we got of each character. They were very short. I love the character exploration. I definitely loved the main characters, the main family. The dad was the GM, I believe that's the term, of the hockey club. And then the mom was really strong, Kira. And then the daughter, Maya, her best friend, Anna. All the side characters were really good. And Benji was another favorite. Amat, Zacharias. So many good characters. Cover, I give a 5 out of 5. I really love this cover. This cover is so pretty. I just love it. The sequel's cover looks really pretty too, unless they've changed it, because I saw like an email that showed like the new cover. But I really love this cover. I love how Fredrik Backman's books are really pastel, have a very nice pastel look to them. Suspense, I give a 3.5 out of 5. This book was really hard to read because it was portrayed so accurately. It was hard to read. It was no fluffy parts. It was no glazing over. It got into the nitty gritty, and that made it a little hard to read. But I really enjoyed it nonetheless. And for rereadability, 5 out of 5. I think this is an important book. Not only as a story and something you can get into, but as kind of an education tool. An education tool to look at cases of assault and how they kind of come to fruition, how a lot of them get just tossed up because there's lack of evidence, and how we can help support victims if they can't get that justice through the justice system, and how we can be, how we can try to find justice in a different way and help them. And yeah, just so many things I learned from this book. And not that I didn't know those kind of lessons before, but it kind of reinvigorates that and gets me thinking about that, especially in this time when there's a lot of sexual assault cases coming to the surface and a lot of people coming out and saying that this happened and this is wrong. It's important to realize these stories, even if somebody that gets accused of something is your favorite actor, singer, anything, and looking at it objectively and seeing both sides of the story, and not just blindly believing one side or the other, but looking at the case in general, and not dismissing anybody's claims and acting like they aren't anything because of your favorite person didn't do that, because they could never. Because we're all human, we're all make mistakes, but that's not a mistake. That is a horrible act, obviously. No condoning that. So like, we're not gods. Like, we won't do everything perfect, and nobody's invaluable. So yeah, that felt really heavy, but I hope you guys got what I was getting at. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you read this book, definitely let me know in the comments below. If you plan on reading the sequel, definitely let me know. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.